What's up, everybody? Welcome to Boss Rush After Dark. I am one of your hosts, LeRon Dawkins, and with me tonight is the one, the only, Stephanie Klimov. What's up?
Hello. We're gonna hold it down because someone
Corey's got the night off.
Yep, and partying up and being all cool and hanging around with people wearing fancy outfits and drinking from their fancy drinks.
So do you think he's at one big bro fest?
Oh, probably. I mean, just real quick, not to get off topic, because I was reaching out to him just to make sure we had everything set for the show, and he goes, oh, you should see this place, and he's like showing me these pictures of how like stylish the area is, everyone's being all fancy, and he has this chain, this gold chain, well, not like a real gold chain, like necklace that everybody's wearing. It says, like twerking, but it's networking.
Oh.
I was like, gosh, I have to talk about this on the show and embarrass him. So he's off having a grand old time.
Oh, geez. Twerking.
Right?
I'm sorry, networking.
Well, but see, one of the people was wearing, one of the guys was wearing like one of those suit vest jackets, and it cut off the NE part. So it looked like twerking. I'm like, dude, is that guy wearing a twerking chain?
Jesus Christ. That's hilarious, though. So, yeah, Brofest. Like, when he comes back, he needs to show us some of that swag he got.
Yeah, absolutely. He better come prepared. You hear that? Yeah, when you're listening. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so how's it going tonight?
It's going okay. It's been quite a week. We can get into more stuff later, but just high level. I started my very first week at my new job last week. Took care of a lot of my IT issues. I'm starting to get my feet wet with orientation. So it's a bit of an adjustment period. I mean, I touched up my office. I now have 2 computer monitors, and I mounted a TV on top for gaming when I'm not working. In case in case anyone from work is listening. Yeah.
Oh, snap. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Playing with the big boys now.
Yeah. How about you? How's your week so far?
I actually finally mounted my television. As a matter of fact, there you go.
Very nice. That means you can actually start playing on your PS5, right?
Exactly. Oh, you must have heard last week's podcast, huh? Those guys, Story and Corey, like, just tore me up on Crossroads. like even Austin came back this week because he had COVID last week. He got COVID the week prior and was recovering, so he was in no shape to be on the show for last week's episode. And last week's episode, as in for people who are listening, because this episode happens late. If you're not a patron, of course. Last week's episode was the 18th of January for Crossroads. He missed that one because he was recovering from COVID. And I'm not gonna say he had complications because he just had no voice. He had no voice, and he said he actually had to go back on his asthma inhaler for a hot minute.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah. So he listened to the show, and he was like, man, he was like, those guys bloodied your nose last week on this show. Are you all right?
Yeah. Oh man.
And then I heard, but apparently he recovered and came back in rare form because him and Ed did some expansion packs.
Ooh.
For Boss Rush. And also said he lit him up on some of his Ed's hot takes.
Oh man, I can't wait to listen to that. Is that also part of the Patreon package?
Yes, it is actually.
Didn't mean to spring that on you.
Oh yeah, no, it is part of the Patreon package. I think people can get in for $1, if I'm not mistaken. Like I think all our patron stuff entry level is just $1.
Exactly. So no excuse, guys. And actually, just because we're on it,
to the content.
Since we're on it, I do want to give a shout out to @DaveWayne09 on Twitter, who gave us a shout out for listening to his first ever After Dark episode, and hopefully you're enjoying it, and maybe you'll consider hopping onto our Patreon. That's not,
hell yeah,
to pressure you. No pressure. Oh my gosh, it sounded like I was pressuring you. No.
Oh yeah, yeah. No pressure for real. There's so many tiers though. Like there's actual tiers where you actually get to become a part of the production team, where you actually help us plan out an episode of any of our various shows you pick, depending on your status as a patron and stuff like that.
Exactly, and
There's
a great
there's
episode to
something in
do
it for
that on
everyone.
is After
Oh yeah.
Dark, because we
Oh for
each
real.
bring
Yeah.
topics, and as you know, we do some bizarre, funny stuff to real serious, well, whatever. And so if there's something that you want to hear us discuss, something to consider.
Yep. For real. Yep. So yeah, so I got my TV hooked up, and what actually took so long is because like my bedroom is configured differently from how I was in the last place I lived at. So the TV, so actually my bed is no longer. If you remember how my old setup used to be, like now my bed is in the center of the room, which
Hmm.
the last place I was living at, like the room was big, but the configuration of the room was kind of odd. So the best place for me to have the bed, so I could still use my computer desk with my computer, was I had to put my bed kind of in a corner. This is a queen size bed.
Hmm.
So the only other place to put the TV at was directly across from the bed. Uh,
Oh,
but
okay.
but the head of the bed is one way. So and the TV is facing basically the side of the bed. So yeah. So so what I want to do this time, because this room also has a unique configuration, but it is shaped more like a standard bedroom. It's a rectangle. It's a
Hmm.
large rectangle, but it actually has like another. It has like a I guess the easy way to say it is it has like a recess, and not like it goes down like anything, but it has another section that goes outward to the front of the house. Because like I have two closets in my room. Um,
Nice.
so there's an L shaped wall, and then there's that cut that goes to further to the front of the room and everything, right? So my computer desk is on one side of that L, and so on the shorter portion of the L, that's where I decided to hook up my television because with my streaming equipment right here, like if you guys are looking at me right now, where I'm pointing, like my streaming equipment, which is my camera, my key lights, and all that stuff, it's back behind my monitor now.
Hmm.
I have no room now to put. I can hear the jokes now. I have no room now to put a 75-inch television atop of my atop of my monitor setup and everything, right? So I was like, you know what? This wall is perfect because I still have the illusion of having that command center,
Hmm.
but I was like, now I have no way of actually clearly watching television from the bed
From the bed, yeah.
because so I either move the bed closer to the bedroom door, which means there's like a gaping open space on the opposite side of the room, or I have to get creative. So I bought an articulating mount. That way I can pull it out and position it,
Yes.
tilt shift, and all that stuff. And yeah, and so I finally got it hooked up. Today's I got it hooked up Monday. I got it hooked up on Monday. And watching TV in bed and playing video games in bed is now an experience.
Oh,
Because now the TV comes out from the wall and just like points towards the bed and stuff. It can tilt all sorts of ways. I'm sorry, I'm being a nerd.
no, no. I just like there's a reason why I can't have a TV in my bedroom because I feel like I will be up all night, playing stuff, and I people would, been kind of, poking fun for fun about, how long it takes to get everything set up. But let me tell you, I've had mounted this TV and the new TV in my living room. Mounting TVs are a pain in the fucking
They
ass.
are. They
I hate
are.
it.
They are. Like it's at least a 2-man project. If you don't have one of those mounts that like actually is the articulating mount, I don't understand why I never did articulating mount to begin with, because it's the easiest experience to mount a television, you know, without, because like when you have just a straightaway mount, depending on how large a television is, you need a third person to be that center of balance
Yeah.
while the other two people are actually hooking it onto the mount and stuff like that. But for this articulating mount, me and my buddy, we were actually able to do it ourselves without needing the help of my roommate as the extra person for all that stuff. So yeah, like I'm never going back to like any other type of mount. I don't care. I don't care if I don't have the room to like tilt that TV. I'm having articulating mount. Like it just makes sense now.
Yeah. I know I'm totally geeking out on my TV. I mean, mine's only a 42 inch or 43 inch, so it's not like a gargantuan one. But it's like I haven't gotten up to now. Now I'm geeking out too. Like I haven't gotten like an updated television in a long time. Like I didn't have a smart TV. I didn't have like the latest HD 4K, whatever, all that stuff. So like
Mhm.
I'm just getting used to just how amazing it looks. And also I threw the package away. The thing that you stick to the back of a TV or a monitor and you turn it on and it just changes colors.
An Ambilight kit.
Yeah, it's so
I have to
cool.
I have to hook mine back up to my television. The lights are on it right now, but the actual sensor and the power adapter is not hooked up to it just yet. And part of it was because like this is not a flush mount like the regular the normal mounts are. So I'm like I wonder how much it will interfere with the lighting from that, you know.
Yeah.
But what I may wind up doing is actually getting a different type of ambilight kit, one that actually has like a different intensity, so like it actually reaches the wall, you know, and still
Yeah.
looks good. I'll figure it out. Or you know, worst case, because oh, that's how I broke my last television. Me and a buddy, yeah. Like this actual the TV that I have right now. This is their replacement. Um, Me and my buddy, like I bought that Ambilight kit. Um, it's by Govee. Like I can't remember this. I can't remember RG Bic. It's an RG Bic. It's a Govee RG Bic kit. It's nice too. For the price, it's nice. Like I got it on Amazon for like 50 something dollars. It was on sale. It's normally like $75. It was on sale though. So
Nice.
I saw all the reviews for it. I was like, oh, I gotta have it. I gotta have it because I wanted that. You know. So me and my buddy spent a Saturday hooking it up and everything. And for some strange reason, we were struggling with the TV that particular day and stuff, like getting it back on the mount and stuff. So I get back on the mount. I test out the light kit. The light kit's fine. Turn the TV on. Turn TV on. The panel's cracked. The LED panel's
Holy
cracked
sh!
towards the bottom, and I know for sure I'm the person that did it because like I was the person that was holding that side of the television. Somehow got my thumb made contact with the front portion of the screen, and I
Oh
put too much
no.
pressure on it. Yeah, and cracked it. Now the cool thing about it was like it was so low on the TV that in all honesty you could almost ignore it, even though like there were scan lines. You could see visible scan lines towards that bottom portion of the TV. It was fine. So I was sitting there. I was wrestling with myself. I was like, you know, because this is a Sony Bravia XBR X940E television for people who get tech boners. 75 inch. Um, nice TV. Like I'd only had a TV for about a year. This TV used to be a flagship Sony television. And when I say flagship, like when it was on the line, it was like a $5,500 television. I didn't spend
Ooh,
that much for it. I spent $2,100 for my TV because like at that point it was 3 4 years old at that point. So I'm wrestling with myself because it's like, man, I've only had this TV for a year. Do I replace it? And if I replace it, what am I going to replace it with? Because like I went through some real work researching this television. I went through some real work, and I was like, I gotta replace it with something that's comparable. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I just love this TV too much. I'm just going to deal with it. You know, like I played a few video games on it. It didn't look that bad. Horizon Zero Dawn did bug me, you know, because it seems like parts of the HUD are right there where it's fucked up.
oh no. Yeah, that would get to me.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the kicker, right? Like right after I basically resigned myself to be like, okay, I think I'm gonna deal with this for now until I'm ready to get my next television. After I made that resignation, the next day, the entire panel just went out. Like, yeah, like the TV would come on, you could see some of the backlighting, but you could not see an image at all. I was like, fuck.
Oh, that sucks.
So I had to replace my television, and guess what I did? I just bought the same exact television. I was able to find it. I was able to find it for practically the same price I bought the original one at. So there we are.
Nice.
So now I have PTSD when it comes to hanging televisions on mounts and stuff like that.
I can't blame you. Man, that's borderline traumatizing. Although now I kind of feel like a peasant. Here I am with my TV half the size of yours and like I got it like on sale for like $600. This
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you the most spectacular piece of advice I can give you. When it comes to your bedroom, I would say try not to go higher than a 55-inch television for your bedroom. For your
okay.
bedroom or for an office room. For your living room, 65 or 75-inch. Because here's the problem. Because this is the trap I got into. Before I got this television, before I got this television, I had a Sharp. I had a Sharp. The Sharp was my first 4K television. Um, I jumped from a 52 inch. Yeah, they used to make 52 inches at one point. I jumped from a 52 inch Sony Bravia to a 70-inch Sharp.
Hmm.
Now, listen to this. Like, I was not trying to go past a 65-inch for my bedroom. So when it was time for me to get ready to like buy a new television, I was like, "There's no way." I was like, I can't go under a 70-inch now. I'm too used because I go to friends' house and I'm looking at their TV. I'm like, man, it's kind of small.
You're probably like squinting and like, hi, let me adjust my glasses here. Actually, have you ever watched The Office?
Was that The Office?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it religiously. I've seen a few episodes here and there.
No, just real quick, because Michael Scott moved in to a condo with his girlfriend Jan at the time, and he goes, "Guys, check this out! I got myself a plasma screen TV, but it's like this tiny, like 20-inch TV mounted on." He's like, "Look, I can even push it forward, push it back."
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that song. Don't want no short. That's how I am about televisions now. So like I'm sitting there like okay I'm ready to get like a 4K HDR television now because the Sharp was just 4K, it wasn't HDR, and HDR is honestly HDR is where it's at. Like, so I was sitting there like, you know what, I can't do anything under a 70-inch. I can't. Because I got used to it. So here we are with a 75-inch television in my bedroom. First time my boyfriend sees the television, he was like, "Holy television, Batman!" He was like, "Did you really need all this TV for your room?" I was like, "Yes, I need all this TV for my room." I did. Don't ask any more questions about it. So when it was my boyfriend's turn to buy a television, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was asking me to help him look. He was asking me to help him look for some TVs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hilarious. It was hilarious because I was like, he was like, "What size TV is in your room?" I was like, "A 75-inch," and he was like, "No, I don't need a 75-inch." I was like, "Where's the TV going? In your living room?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, I'd recommend a 65-inch and see how you feel about it. So he goes looking. He looks in 65 inches. He settles on 65-inch, but the first thing he says is, "Man," he's like, "that 75-inch would have really rocked in the living room."
Hey, once you get used to a certain size, LeRon, it's hard to go backwards.
For real. But I'm the guy. I was like, I don't need anything. I'm the guy. I don't need anything bigger than 55, 65 inches in my room. And look at me now, like I have a freaking 75-inch. But I'm stopping at 75 inches.
That's what you say now.
No. I'm saying that it's like there's like an inside joke, right? You know, like I'm not sure how women are about this, but I know how gay and bisexual men are about this. There's an inside joke where it's like you don't want to be stuck with something that's too big, and you know that's what you have for the rest of your life because it's just going to wear you out.
Yeah. I can't speak for all women, but yeah, no, I wouldn't want that. No, I like it in a nice medium.
Exactly. I believe the term is called the husband sized.
Oh, husband size. I've not heard that. I'm going to use that term now.
Yeah, a husband size. It's something that you can live with for the rest of your life and not have any regrets about it being too big and not have any second thoughts about it being too small.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about things getting stretched out in case things don't work.
Exactly.
We had to go there. That has been a wonderful, wonderful tech talk with LeRon.
I mean, yeah, I feel like looking at the TV, my eyes are not bigger than his bedroom. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
I,
I'm not going anything bigger because the next size up is 82-inch. No, I know. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to play those games.
what's what's the largest? What would be considered the largest size for residential?
Let's see. Let's look it up right now. Largest television size. Largest television screen size. Let's see. Okay. Oh, that's a projection. We're not worried about projection. Let me see. Sony has an 85-inch right now.
Okay.
LG has an 86-inch. Um. Oh, there's 87. Well, no, actually, no. It says 87, but it actually measures as an 86.
All
So it
right.
looks. So it looks like the largest size that you can walk into a Best Buy and get right now is an 86-inch.
I don't know, LeRon. Seems like you're already almost there anyway. You might as well just go to the max. Come on, how far away is that?
If I'm going to go that far, I'm just going to get a projection screen.
Projection. Okay.
But but my bedroom's on the second flight of the house. Like, no, like I don't need a sound system just like blurring downstairs. You know.
Yeah, and you need a freaking crane to probably lift everything up.
Yeah. Whoa. Wait. Okay. So Samsung has a 146-inch wall television now available to order, but it's only for order. You can't like walk into a store and buy that.
Can you imagine trying to tote that into your SUV or just like tying it to the rooftop?
See, and that's the other thing. Like, I've already broken one television, so I already have PTSD about possibly having to struggle and and mount a TV. Like, shoot, whenever I move out and get my own place, I'm probably going to wall mount a television that I put into the living room because I'm like, I'm just going to put it on a stand. I don't want to deal with this nonsense.
Especially if you get 100 whatever inch TV, you don't need to mount it huge anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering, do they even make mounts to fit that? I feel like the best thing you have to do is recess it into your wall or something.
Possibly. At that point, you might as well go all out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, welcome to the After Dark Tech Talk.
Yeah. We should do this once in a while. Like,
Corey missed out. I wonder how big his TV is. That sounded kind of dirty, didn't it?
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Corey's living it up. Still living it up. Still rubbing it in our face.
Yeah, I know.
All right, we'll guess Corey's TV size. I'm gonna say.
I feel like Corey is a modest. Well, Corey's a big dude. Let's see, he's 6'5". He weighs. I forgot how much he said he weighs. I'm gonna say Corey's a modest 65 to 70 inch. Technically, there is no. I think there is no 70 inches. I think it goes. I think once you get past 50 inch, it goes 55, 65, 75, and then it gets into the 80s.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's around like the 50 to 55 inch mark. So we'll find out when he gets back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like we need to insult him. Be like, you're rocking a 32-inch, aren't you?
And he's got to prop it on a very elaborate stand to kind of make up for it.
Well, what is this?
Right? Did you just get the text?
Yeah. Oh man. Oh my god. I would share this, but I'm not sure if he wants the stream to see this.
Yeah, just for the audio, we just got a text from our fearless leader at said whatever work event he's at, and boy, I wish you guys could see it.
Yeah, what? I didn't know he was so hood.
Right? Showing us a different side of him.
I know. I know. What set is he claiming? Jeez. I tell you, those boys out in the Midwest, man.
Yeah, they know how to get down.
All right. Well, you know what? We spent all the time talking about tech and like sizes of things, and husband material and stuff like that. I never did get to the housekeeping. So This is Boss Rush After Dark, the new show from the Boss Rush Network, where each and every week we get together with our friends to discuss and debate topics aimed towards our adult audience, ranging from dating to life tragedies to relationships to travel and all sorts of other things. You can get the show early on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, every Sunday, or on YouTube, podcast services, or our website 2 weeks later for free. So remember, if you're a patron, you get it on Sunday after recorded. If you're not a patron, you have to wait 2 whole weeks. And guess what? We talk about way too much good stuff here for you to be waiting for it. All right. As always, feel free to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, you can find all of our content on bossrush.net. All right. Well,
yeah. Who wants to wait 2 weeks to listen about TV sizes of the hosts?
Listen about TV sizes, listen about like tragic dating stories, listen to like the things that the shenanigans we get into just trying to get laid.
Yeah. This is premium stuff.
Dirty video games. Like when I say dirty, I mean dirty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, we're on a roll though.
Yeah, this is good. Let's keep the momentum up.
Sure. Well, here's something then. Since we talked about dirty video games in our very first inaugural episode, which is actually out now on on bossrush.net now. So you guys, if you haven't had a chance because you're not a patron, go back and check that out now. It's there. But since we were talking about dirty video, oh wait, didn't you guys just rap standard definition of Dumbo?
No, see, I was an idiot and got the order of it all wrong. So we actually recorded Pinocchio, and Dumbo is either next or the following. So Dumbo's coming up.
Oh, okay. So now's not the time to talk about the racist crows.
Well, I mean, we could still touch upon it. I mean, I
don't know if they were racist. More like it was racially insensitive. You know, well, here's a funny topic then. Let's just talk about like all the off-color stuff that used to happen in cartoons and stuff aimed towards children over the. Actually, well, we now know that cartoons were never meant for kids. Never were meant for kids. It was just another medium for parents to pay attention to while their kids were watching it. Because I have as an adult, I have witnessed so much now that I just was not privy to as a kid.
Oh yeah.
For example, yeah, you guys at Boss, you and Corey for sure know that I am a major fan of Donald Duck and the Donald Duck family for Disney. I am. I grew up on like those old Disney cartoons, like the old school ones that started with the jingles and the singing and all that stuff. So recently, a buddy of mine, because I was excited. I got a hold of like one of the golden collections from the Disney Vault, and we were watching the Donald Duck stuff, and the very first episode. Actually, no, not the very first time he runs across Chip and Dale. I think it was the second one, because I think the second time he runs across Chip and Dale was when he had the farm and he was growing apples. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, like you hear Chip and Dale speaking, it's that high pitched talking. Some of it you understand, some of it you don't. But I was like, you know what? Hold on. We were watching this. And I was like, man, what are they saying? And I was like, you know what? Hold on. I can pitch this down. So I rewound it. I pitched it down.
No way.
Stephanie, in those early episodes, they were talking in jive.
What?
They were talking jive.
Seriously?
I could not fucking believe it.
How were they able?
We had to stop watching it because we were too busy. Like we were dying with laughter. It's like, holy shit, they're talking jive.
Oh my gosh!
You're looking for it now, aren't you?
No, I'm just I kind of don't want to believe it, but at the same time, I'm like, go figure. Sorry, I'm speechless. And cause like part of me feels ashamed now because I love Chippendale. They're like my favorite.
What is the name of the episode? Donald Duck Apple Farm. Hold on, I'm looking it up now.
Wow.
The name of the episode is Donald Applecore.
Donald Applecore.
Donald Applecore from 1952. Like when you watch the episode, when you watch the episode,
Okay.
when it gets to the part, like I'm going to tell you the specific part.
Okay.
Um, when you get to the part where is it? Oh, okay. So when you get to the part where like he discovers that the chipmunks are stealing his apples and stuff, and he follows Dale up the tree. Dale whispers something in his ear. At that point, if you pitch it down, it's jive talk.
I'm gonna do that right after the show. That's gonna make my top priority. Wow.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh well, I know this. I know this. Cartoons were like a thing of their era.
Yeah.
So I know during a lot of the Walt Disney cartoons, it was during World War II. So like a lot of the humor and stuff was racially charged against Asians. Because like World War II, like one of our biggest enemies were Japan.
Yep. Yep.
So that was one thing. World War One in World War One, I can't remember. Actually, there weren't a lot of cartoons. Like a lot of the cartoons weren't like what we know, like with the Disney cartoons, the Looney Tunes cartoons, and stuff like that. A lot of the cartoons were war propaganda because they were played in movie theaters before the actual movie, which is cool. It's like, why don't we have that now? Like all we have is like suck ass trailers that for movies that we don't
Yeah.
always want to see.
Exactly.
I want to this golden age of movie watching where we're getting cartoons before the movie starts.
I know. Why
But
not? Come on.
yeah, yeah, it's like a lost era. Uh, but um,
It really is.
but shoot, all of it was because Tom and Jerry cartoons. Where
Yeah, those I don't have specific examples off the top of my head because it's been a while since I've seen them, but I do I recognize that I got to an age where when I started seeing some of those episodes, oh, like for example, sorry, I'm like I keep my parents are real old school because they're generation, so when they watch my son, they'll put on like Tom and Jerry on YouTube, and then I'd go pick them up like, oh, I remember Tom and Jerry as a kid, right? I go up and I start watching along with them for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, is this really what is going on here?
for real, yeah.
I mean, yeah, so it's just more like uncomfortable, and
I can't.
you're right.
I can't. I don't think they ever said the name of Tom's owner, the black lady. So I've always
Mm,
called her Big Mama. I've always called her Big Mama. Well, because in those original cartoons, like it was voiced by a black woman, or at least somebody mimicking a black woman, and stuff like that.
yep.
So,
Yes, yes, I remember. They only showed
so
like from her the neck down, right?
yeah, if that, yeah, like usually they show it from the waist down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes they show it from the neck down. Well, there's an episode and this is I think this is the only time you see her face, and it's so bad. It's so bad because you see her face, and it's only for like an instant because it's the episode where she goes out for the night, and Tom decides to invite his cat friends over so they can throw a party at the house, and pisses Jerry off to the point where Jerry like basically rats them out. He calls where Big Mama's at. She's with her friends playing bridge, but she's all dressed up. That was the funny part. She had bling on and everything. She was dressed up. She was
Wow.
getting jiggy basically, and. And so like Jerry, like because they basically like hog tie Jerry and hang him up on the blind, and he's able to get down off the blind and like inchworm his way over to a phone. He dials a number where she's at. She picks up the phone, and of course it's in this black Southern lady voice and everything. And she's like, "A party at my house." And she just She just hauls ass out the door, and in that instance, when you see her running up the street, because you see what you think is her silhouette, but if you pause it at the right time, you see her face, and it's like, oh my god,
Ooh.
it's like it. You've heard of minstrel shows, right?
Heard of what? Sorry, I'm looking up this episode too. What were you asking?
Minstrel shows. Have you heard of that?
Mm.
It was basically the old theater form where people were always in blackface.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
that's you know what? When you pause on that scene when she's running up the street to get home, it basically looks like a black
Black
person, but blackface.
face. Oh, that's the worst. Oh my gosh. Really? That's ooh. It's like looking at a car
Yeah,
crash.
it's bad.
I really don't wanna see it, but I kinda have to see it. But I don't wanna see it because it's
Yeah,
not good.
it's bad, but at the same time, it's hilarious because, you know, I'm a Gen Xer, so I grew up in that age where like I feel like we were still transitioning out. We were getting to a point where we're transitioning into more racial sensitivity and stuff like that. If you can believe that, you know. But you know, like I'm a product of my past, you know, and like you know, like our family's generations or our parents' generations, they're still dealing with that stuff, you know, because
Mhm.
that stuff followed them because like my parents, they grew up in the height of the civil rights era. You are Chinese descent, right?
Yeah, my mom's side, yep.
You're Chinese descent. So depending on when they were in America, their family probably, you know, like I hate to say they may have possibly like been hit with the whole American internship camps.
Mm,
Yeah, so you know like we have generations that are living out there that you know are basically there are still like they still have some type of trauma from like the racial stuff that they deal with, which is crazy because like I feel like the generations now we have our own specialized PTSD when it comes to racial insensitivity and you know injustice and stuff like that because we see wild shit going on now. Shit, like we just had three dudes get sent to prison for modern day lynching
yep,
when they
yep.
yeah like they ran down that dude and shot him in the street because he was running through the neighborhood. You know, it's like
No,
and you know it's like
yeah.
it's shit like that and you know like and a lot of people like I you know like I dare say I might be one of the walking wounded because like when I saw the video of that the Ahmaud Arbery stuff you know I wasn't trying to introduce like woke to this conversation because I was definitely talking about racist cartoons you know and how funny they are but you know basically you know like I sit back and I wonder nowadays like when our parents were watching us watch these cartoons what the hell were they thinking.
I know.
I think it's a different era, you know, because now like you know are woke, you know, so like this stuff doesn't fly. And for example, like when you're on Cartoon Network now and you're watching and they play Tom and Jerry or Looney Tunes cartoons and stuff like that, they politically correctify those all those cartoons and stuff like that. Like it's funny because every scene that has Big Mama in it, in a Cartoon Network airing of Tom and Jerry right now, it's a white lady's voice, even though it's a black woman's body.
Yeah. I there's one that stood out in my mind, and although if I've been saying I'm personally not like so offended by it, but it's still cringeworthy, and I would have preferred it not happen. But because I love the movie, The Aristocats,
Mm-hmm.
I think it got one of those like warning and sensitivity labels, and that one was because of the Siamese cat, and you can
Oh yeah.
imagine what the Siamese cat sounded like. And now
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing: coming from a part, half Chinese family, I know that when we learn English, we have an accent. I'm not really that opposed if it's an Asian quote unquote character that has an accent, but like the way that Siamese cat, it was like a very exaggerated form of that, like super, like that's the part that gets me is when it's exaggerated. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're not that bad, and like when I was a kid, and maybe it's because I was a kid and I let it go over my head, I remember I forget like the kids were talking about it at school, and it's how when kids see this, they think it's okay to mimic. So I had kids like pulling their eyes back like this
I
to talk
remember.
to
I
me,
remember that shit. I remember that shit.
and that's when it bothered me. Like the fact
I
that
can't say. I can't say for sure I ever did that shit. Because like kids to a certain extent are ignorant. Like we know a lot of kids don't know when we're actually being like insensitive
yeah,
just trying to hurt people. Like sometimes we're just mimicking stuff, and sometimes we mimic shit that we see other people do. But some kids know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm
yeah,
trying, and I can't think for sure if I've ever done the whole like fake slanty eye thing. I don't think I ever have because I'm one of those people that I learned when I was growing up that I can't stand when people like call like mispronounce or call me out of my name. Yeah, so I learned early on to try not to just like try not to be like an asshole to people just because of who they are.
yeah. But you're right. Like to an extent, when you look at kids, like the majority of things that kids say or do is because they saw or heard it somewhere. So I feel like
Yeah.
in one way, like it's when I say it's excusable, I mean as long as the kid gets taught out of it. Because again, everything that's racist or insensitive is taught from something. So like modern day cartoons, it won't have that. So hopefully, as generations continue to grow, they won't be copying such stuff like that. When I look
Hmm.
back at this cat, and I just googled what the cat's actual name was, Shun Gon. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, like there's a snapshot of him playing the piano with chopsticks. I'm like, that can't be more
Ah.
stereotypical. I'm like, oh gosh, it's like I'm just rolling my eyes. Whatever. It's a
Okay.
oh sorry.
Why? Okay. I looked up Aristocats Siamese cat, and the first thing it gives me is the Siamese cat song for Lady and the Tramp, which, by the way, that also is
Oh
problematic.
yes, yes.
That also is problematic. But Lady and Tramp is one of my favorite. Is one of my favorite of the classic Disney movies.
Well, and that's the thing. Like I love the Aristocats. So the way I kind of put it is, you're right. It's a
Oh,
product
there it
of it.
is.
Mm, yeah.
Why is it okay? So why is it on YouTube? Aristocats best / funny part, and it's the part where the cat playing the chopsticks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh jeez, oh jeez. I'm gonna have to watch this movie now. God, the Aristocats was 1970. I feel like that was actually in my lifetime. This movie's older than I am.
Well, now that
That
we're doing,
just that just. Oh,
go
good.
ahead. I was just
I
saying
was
that
just
now
saying.
that I'm sorry.
Mhm.
You go. Seriously, you go.
All I was gonna say is that just shows how much of a classic it is because I'm sitting here thinking that the movie was in my lifetime and it's actually older than I am.
No, absolutely. And I was honestly going to say something similar because we started the standard def like Disney part of it. The first couple movies that we're talking about, Snow White and Pinocchio, those were the 1940s, like
30s, 30s, 30s
thir-
and 40s
30s for the Snow White and 40s for Pinocchio,
for
1940.
Pinocchio.
So I'm like,
Yeah,
holy crap, that was a long time ago.
but you know what's amazing about that though? The
Mm,
animation style still holds up to this day.
for
The
sure.
animation style, because like if you look at some of the bullshit that's on like the Cartoon Network, for example, it's like, man, how is this? I try not to be an art snob. I tried not to be because I used to have this problem in comic books. If the comic artist was the illustrationist was in my opinion bad, I wouldn't read the comic. And that snobbery has kind of followed me to animated forms, on television and movie media. If the animation looks like, in my opinion, if it looks like ass, I'm not going to watch it.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's just because I'm a snob too. So from snob to snob, I actually would say we're not being snobs because like there's some cartoons that I see and I just think it's freaking awful. And maybe it might look great for maybe kids that it's targeting to at that time, but we've all talked and we talked about this in video games too. They just don't age well. So
Yes.
that's what I mean. And well, maybe that's what you mean with like those classic Disney movies is because they're done and drawn up in a way that it ages and will be timeless forever. Whereas just I hate to throw Cartoon Network because it's not all like that, but just an example of some of the weird stuff you see on Cartoon Network or stuff some kids just see on YouTube. It's such an eyesore. And maybe they might like it now, but I bet you once they grow up and they look back on it, they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
I
Seriously.
can I can name one cartoon that was on the Cartoon Network, before I cut cable, that was like, huh? For
What is it?
me,
What is it?
Thundercats Go.
Oh, Oh,
I
yes.
was like, what the
Ooh.
fuck?
Oh, that's I can't unsee that. Can't unsee
I,
that.
I was like, what the fuck?
So, the rule of thumb here with whether it's TV, animation, gaming, even clothing style or architecture, classic always works.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
classy.
What exactly? Which is why I say for sure, like as far as I mean, there's some Disney, like like when it comes to their movies, I feel like their movies are of a certain caliber that like 200 years from now they'll still look good, stuff like that. I can't say the same for their animation for like their just regular TV, like the TV and streaming media. But even though I will say like the Ducktales reboot was fucking awesome, I'm so pissed that it is over. I'm so pissed. But once again, like Donald Duck family. So I loved everything about the Ducktales reboot, and I'm like, why the fuck won't y'all remaster the original Ducktales series in 1080p?
Ooh, that'd be
Why
nice.
won't you? Because they remastered Tailspin
Hmm.
in 1080, and it's like, are you fucking
I wonder
kidding me?
why. Huh.
I don't know. Like I found it in like I was looking. Where was I looking at? I can't remember what I was looking at for sure, but it is in 1080p, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how that could. I don't know. Is it that much of a money suck for them? Because if they jazz it
I
up,
feel
then they can continue showing it to new generations, right? So,
I feel like cartoons, like it doesn't take that much to upscale and remaster them. I really don't think so. But yeah, like shit, Tailspin and shit. Now I'm sitting here thinking because like I jumped on him and complimenting you about your article recently because we talked about it. We shouted it out last night. You're about streaming, about gaming streaming services, about gaming subscription
yay!
services.
Uh-huh.
Being the new bloat for subscription
Yeah.
services. Yeah, that was amazing. But yeah, like one thing that kind of chased me, and then I guess we can move on after this. One thing that kind of chased me is why when they put classic cartoons on these streaming services, they don't put them in like numerical order of the show.
Oh.
That really burns me up, honestly, because my whole thing about that is that I hate when I'm watching what they say is the listing for the first episode of DuckTales and is actually like episode 8.
That's weird. Why would
Yeah,
All right, you know what? I don't know. That's cuz
yeah.
cuz all right, you know what? Why do I ask questions that I will never know the answers to? Because Netflix just automatically does everything in the order that they're supposed to be, right? So,
Yeah, supposed to. Yeah.
I really don't see how difficult that is, but what do I know? I'm not Disney. So,
Wait, maybe I'm wrong because I was just looking for the Tailspin stuff right now, and it's it's in okay. So it's still in standard definition. So I thought they remastered it though. I could have sworn. I could have sworn because I don't know. Forget. Never mind. I'm a crazy person. Never mind.
it's going to bother you for the rest of the night, but it's okay.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. I mean, but as far as those Disney afternoon cartoons, since we're still talking about Disney, like
Yeah.
DuckTales will always be my favorite. Then Tailspin, then Darkwing Duck, and
Mm.
whoa, 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 whoa! I forgot. DuckTales, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, and then Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
I forgot all about Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, can I just tell you that my parents, they're so strict, as you can imagine. That stereotype does hold up most of the time. They only allow me to watch one half-hour television show every afternoon when I came back from school back in the 90s or whatever.
Because you
And you know
had to
what?
do because you had to do your homework.
Yep. And you know what show I always chose? Rescue Rangers. I friggin' love that
Good
show.
choice. Good
Yeah.
choice.
Oh man, good stuff. So the Rescue Rangers isn't on Disney Plus, or is it?
It is. It is.
Oh,
It
I'm
is. Rescue Rangers is also another show that's out of order if you watch it on Disney Plus, though.
boo. All right, but that means I can start showing Nikolai that because I'm just like insistent that I show Nikolai. That's my son. Every single type of show that I watched when I was a kid.
Hey, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, hold on, because I'm on Disney Plus right now. Let's see something here. If we look at Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, unless they changed something, because the last time I looked at Rescue Rangers, it was not in order. Yeah, the first episode is Part C Under the Seas. That is not the actual first episode of the show.
That's weird. I'll never know. Whatever.
Yeah, it's just odd.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, if I Wikipedia that, right?
Mm.
Chippendale's Rescue Rangers.
And now I got the theme song stuck in my head. I'm not going to sing it because I got a terrible singing voice, but man.
All right, so let's see episodes. This show's on for 3 seasons.
Okay.
Oh, even this is wrong.
Uh-oh.
That's weird. Okay, even Wikipedia has it wrong, and Wikipedia is usually what I go by,
Well.
because the first episode, if I'm not mistaken, the first episode of Rescue Rangers was Chip and Dale. Like they were always like copycatting like a police officer who's getting ready to retire, and that's how they wound up running into Fat Cat for the first time. That was their first adventure because that's when they met Monterey Jack and Gadget. Who, by the way, Gadget was just awesome.
I love Gadget. I think that's kind of like, I don't know. She was like, it's funny to say a kid's role model was a mouse, but it was like because she's a female, but also
And
smart.
was an engineer,
Yeah.
an engineer. Yeah, I mean, like as a kid, I didn't understand it, but I see the importance of letting little girls see stuff like that, like women being like smart, women being inventors, women being in positions of power and stuff like that. I get it. I get it.
Though I will say, like, I did like that, and see, Disney can be progressive sometimes in the 90s. But the downside is, in a lot of episodes, because I remember it stuck out in my head as a kid, one of the recurring bad guys was like a rat. I forgot what his name was. And quite frequently, they'd use Gadget as like the bait for like any male bad
True.
guys.
Yeah.
And I remember that rat guy once saying to her, because she was like trying to fend off his advances, and he goes, "Spunk. I like Spunk," or "I hate Spunk." I forgot. It was so creepy, and I was sitting there like, "Oh, is this like the only role a woman has? Like if they're like taking on a bad guy?"
Well, you know what's cool though is like I can't remember any time where Gadget was actually portrayed as a damsel in distress. It always seemed like she was very independent and
No, she
strong
was.
willed.
She was. I just feel like they wanted her to kind of be the bait, but she still had her own mind. Like, so ultimately, I still view her in a very positive, progressive light. That's my bottom line. Good show.
Yeah, good talk. Good
Yeah,
topic.
I love it.
Wow, we bounced all over the place on that one because we were talking about racial sensitivity and like cartoons that we loved and stuff, and then we got onto like wokeness, political correctness, female empowerment.
Yeah, we hit almost all the rounds, but like I like this kind of conversation because sometimes, speaking of wokeness, I'm not saying I'm very woke or anti woke or whatever, but it's more like sometimes I get very shy in conversations, not with you, obviously, like with other people about woke related things because they tend to be more on the very passionate, overbearing side to the point where
Mhm.
I kind of feel like I don't want to talk, which it's not like I'm the opposite either. Where am I getting with this? Where was I getting with this? Oh, I was gonna have something very inspiring, and then I just lost my trail of thought. But
Oh,
I just like how we can have this type of conversation. Look at these kind of silly movies that, like for example, in Disney, where they did kind of have racially insensitive moments, but we're not saying like those need to be destroyed and obliterated from history.
yeah,
Like it's all about learning, looking back, like just studying what product it was of the time. And I don't know, it's just I like the fact that it generates conversation. I don't like it when people say like stuff like that needs to go away forever. Well, but I think you know what I mean, right? Like I just
yeah.
feel
I
like
do.
we
I
should
do.
learn
I
from it.
do. Exactly. That's my thing. Like when I think people are starting to learn now when you erase history, like things are destined to repeat itself and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And that goes with all sorts of things. Like shoot. number one, like cartoons were always meant to entertain. Like I mean, like I feel they were always meant to entertain, but like they were also part of a political movement and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And like especially these Disney cartoons, that era and stuff like that, they were war propaganda. But we needed something like that. Like just like it's funny because it was war propaganda to get people like motivated and stuff for like World War II and stuff like that and of course Vietnam and stuff like that because I remember like stuff was geared cartoons and stuff were geared towards that as well. We didn't really have any war propaganda for like our war in Iraq that like that basically ran for half of my lifetime.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing anything
Actually
for that at all.
longer than half of my lifetime. Like the first time when we set foot in Desert Shield when we set foot in Desert Shield, I was 14 years old.
Oh wow.
I'm 46 years old now, and we just backed the fuck up out of the Middle East.
Well, so
That
yeah, that's one great like progression we made. Like it's nice to kind of separate those things, and that's the thing I agree with. That maybe some people out there that don't agree with me is, we need to acknowledge that certain things in the past happen. Like we shouldn't be okay with it, but we shouldn't completely ignore it either. Because you're right. If you don't acknowledge the bad things in the past, they're going to happen again in one way, shape, or form. So.
which is why it's bothersome that people like okay, number one, critical race theory is not a thing in like grade school and like in grade and public school. It's something taught on a university and college level and stuff like that. Particularly it's taught in law school. But the fact that like for example, our governor in Virginia, our newly elected governor, like he basically ran on trying to get rid of critical race theory, and it's fucking incredible because I don't want to I don't want to make it look like I'm pointing fingers and stuff like that, but why is it that whenever America needs to learn a lesson about its own history, like people, particularly white people, are always getting up in arms and basically white people are acting like we're calling them racist even if they've never had a racist bone in their body. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like we're trying to learn things about our history. Yeah, like every country has black stains in their history. Some countries have one or two black stains, some countries have like a million black stains and stuff like that, but ignoring that shit is the easiest way for it to happen again.
Hmm.
And the sad part is, even though we might not ever have like slavery again in the United States, where black folks are in chains and become people's property and stuff like that, we will wind up with modern day slavery. Like look at people who are financially destitute.
Yeah.
Look at how women are being treated in the workforce, as well as on the home front and stuff like that. Like women already aren't getting equal pay to men. Like they're making what, like 30 cents less to the dollar than men are for the same position and wage. And then it feels like every time I fucking turn on television, like women can't be in control of their own fucking bodies. It's like
Yeah. And that's a whole nother can of worms.
yeah, every time I see some shit about women's rights going on and how like fuckhole states in our country are trying to like just basically like grind women to dust and stuff. I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, I'm inches away from putting myself into financial ruin to go to college and become a law advocate for the disenfranchised, stuff like that. Because it's bullshit. Like, let people live their fucking lives.
Mhm.
It's if if what they're doing is not hurting you in any fucking way personally, leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah. Do you mind if I say something? Hopefully, it won't come off the wrong way. Like me personally, again, I'm only saying personally.
Uh,
I am really not. I don't really my personal religious views and beliefs, like I'm not so big on abortion. I'll just word it
mhm.
like that. However, the one thing that I'm grateful for when I was raised, like I chose to be raised Catholic and stuff. I was just lucky enough to have the right mentors who said, you know what? If there are other people out there that want to do their own thing, or just, and I'm now talking about any topic, you let them live their life. You do not, press upon. So I know I'm speaking in fragmented sentences because I'm kind of terrified of like offending people, but I do mean this genuinely. So even though I might not be like a super fan of it, I would not feel right if I told another woman that she can't go do what she needs to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like with the really right pro life people, like, you guys are welcome to live your own values, but you shouldn't be shouldn't be suppressing the actions of others.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because well, here's the flip side of it though. Like 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 they would be really bent out of shape if the pro-choicer people were always pushing their beliefs and mandates onto them.
Exactly.
Unwanted. Or basically, or even trying to make it a law. Which you know what, nobody. Because just even though like Roe versus Wade's a thing, and it seems like it's always in danger these fucking days. It's crazy that I grew up always believing that women could have an abortion and there should
Mhm.
be no problems with it. I didn't know until I was an adult that like there's all sorts of hurdles and shit you have to jump through because like some assholes always trying to make a law against it, stuff like that. I always thought it was a law. just like
Yeah.
I'll even say I was naive enough to believe at one point that I always thought that black people were always equal in the United States.
Mhm.
Shit, I know better now, but
Uh,
but but pro-lifers need to be glad that there is no law. There's no law that's being put against them to take away their choice to be pro-life.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And
Because,
the way I think about it is, if and I'm speaking now purely for, I know I'm like going really into the rabbit hole here. Be really objective about this. If people feel like they need to have an abortion, they're gonna seek it out or have it. What if they're forced to go to another country and or like
it's
go to a
dangerous.
back alley procedure? Like, you know what? Let's at least make sure that they have this. It's still healthcare. It's
Yeah.
accessible healthcare, and I, oh gosh, like, don't get me started on that. Like, I think that takes precedence over anything else with beliefs. Separate church
Mhm,
and state. Just like,
mhm.
this needs to be an option, because if not, it's going to have other dire consequences.
It's going to have ramifications. Like it will be coming just like how the pandemic right now is a concern of public health. Women having access to viable abortion, well, birth control options. I was going to say abortion, but abortion is not the right term. Birth control options, because I feel like abortion is like the ultimate birth control option. I feel that way. Because adoption, that's not birth control. Like bringing a child to full term and then putting it in the system, that's a whole different can of worms that it I don't like thinking about this because sometimes like there are children who literally live in the child care system until they become adults, and that's scary. You actually want that for somebody versus saying, you know what, they don't have to suffer at all. If you know, I, I'm a person of science, and like I know when I talk about these things, sometimes I definitely sound crass and insensitive and stuff like that. But I always look at it like this. What I said just now about, would you rather have someone live a life of suffering if they don't have to, and the person who was going to be their parent was like, listen, I can't let this child suffer. If they're making that decision for that person, what the fuck is your hang up? Because you're not gonna because like for everybody that's screaming they want to be pro life, they never scream, I will adopt that baby.
Exactly.
And if they do scream, I'll adopt that baby, they'll be like, I will adopt that baby. I'm not gonna adopt all the babies,
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm like, fuck you guys. People who have like actual rational like thoughts about pro life. Oh, I'm 100% with you guys. Especially like I know like a lot of his religious beliefs and stuff like that. But I get that because I'm not a religious person, but I respect people's faith, and I know for sure that sometimes some people's relationship with God is the main thing that sustains them in this life. I get it, stuff like that. But at the same time, we try to be godlike, but we will never be God. So you cannot impose on another person God's will.
Well,
You can't.
that's the thing. Like, because a lot of mine is faith based with regard to this choice. Like, I do believe, a fetus is a real, live being. But at the same time, aren't you taught in the same religion that you should treat others the way you should be treated? He who's not without sin should cast the first stone. So like, therefore, like that's my own personal thing. Like, I
Yeah.
believe what I believe. But if, say, my best friend, just she can't, like, for whatever reason, maybe it was an assault, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
maybe there's a reason. You know what? I will happily go with her to the appointment and make sure she's safe and fine. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing people need to understand. You're welcome to have your own beliefs, but it's when you start, oppressing and forcing upon other people when you can't even hold yourself up to the same standards, that's the problem.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Me and my little soapbox. Anyway.
Agreed. Agreed. And why the fuck? Why the? It's not just religious people that are like that, but why
No,
the
I
fuck do
am.
people? Why the fuck do people have to be bullies about this shit? Like
Exactly.
it's not your fight. It's literally not your fight. Like it's the only person who should be fighting is the person who has to make this decision.
Hmm. Exactly. Anyway, another good side topic. There you go.
What's that? Bullies?
Oh, no, we didn't even get to
Oh,
that yet.
oh,
We'll have to
oh,
save that for
oh,
another time. No, just us talking about, like,
oh, oh yeah. Just
women's
like
rights and respecting
look,
each other's opinion.
hey, I try my best to be an ally. I'm not going to say I understand it completely and stuff like that. Even though, like as a man who's not necessarily straight, I am in touch with my feminine side. But I've always lived my life trying to play both sides of the equation and stuff like that. So like the one thing I always try to do is I try to put myself in someone else's situation, or try to put myself in their try to put myself in their shoes, not so much in their situation, but in their shoes and stuff like that. There's a reason why everybody does everything. The stuff that clashes against like our morality and stuff like that. There's usually
Mhm,
a reason why like people are doing it. Unless they're just like Jeffrey Dahmer and just like murdering everybody for no fucking reason.
mhm,
There's usually a reason why people are doing what they're doing and stuff like that. So honestly, I just want people to realize, whether it's the people out there whether it's people out there who are pro life versus pro choice, whether it's people who are out there that like want to have critical race theory banned,
mhm.
even though they don't quite understand what the fuck it is, because they really don't. Because the stupid part about the critical race theory is I don't even know why I swung back to it. The stupid thing about that is that is that is that these are ignorant ass parents who believe something that was told to them for someone. And the crazy part is, as a parent, like if you want to, all you have to do, if you want to find out what your children are learning in school, all you have to do as a parent of a child that's enrolled in a school, just go down to the school and say like, hey, can I take a look at the curriculum that you're teaching my child? They will
Exactly.
they won't even hesitate to give you the curriculum. They
Yeah.
won't. And this is me speaking as a person who does not have a child. I know this shit. So why is it the fuck that people who have, like, heaven forbid, like multiple children, they don't know
Mhm.
that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's really unfortunate. People aren't really
All they
willing to do their homework.
Yeah, all they have to do is walk into that school, say, "Hey, hello, I am Tommy so and so's parent. Could I just take a look at the curriculum that you guys are teaching him this year?" Shit, if I'm not mistaken, like a lot of schools try to send it to parents before school even begins. If I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken.
Yeah. No, there's, in my local town, people were getting all upset about the possibility of some sort of incorporation of critical race theory. And I was partially challenging them, but also partially curious. I was like, can someone actually tell me what it is that will be part of critical race theory in our school system? They couldn't really answer me.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't, because they don't
They're like,
know.
oh,
All,
that's
all
just
they
going to teach people to hate white people. I'm like,
Yeah,
really? Is
that's
that really what
that's
it
literally
is?
what they think. And no, it's not even about that, because, like, like I guarantee you a lot. If they look at it, I guess the problem is, like, when you look in the mirror long enough and see what's staring you back in your face, you have to come to reality with it sometimes. You know, which is why I always say, like, don't be a fucking dick. You know, you know,
That's all what it
and
comes
and
down to.
and you know what? And you know what? Yeah, racism is everywhere. There are racist black people. There are racist Asian people. There are racist Hispanic people. There
Oh,
there there, there are surely racist white people. There are racist indigenous Native American people.
heck yeah, dude. I see so many Asians be racist against other Asians within the Asian community. It's like, woo.
God, the black community and the Hispanic communities, and actually, I think the Asian community also suffer from what's called colorism. Like
Mm.
if you look a certain way,
Yep.
you do not get treated on the same level as
Hmm.
the rest of the people in your ethnic
Yep.
group.
100% true. Yep.
As a matter of fact, I remember seeing like some abject racism in the Asian community because like in this area of Virginia I'm in, like it's got. I'm not saying we're overrun. We're not like little Tokyo out here or nothing like
Hmm.
that, but we have a pretty decent population of Asian people out here and stuff like that. And I've actually seen Asian colorism at work with my own two eyes, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because they looked at this person based on their skin and was already trying to figure out were they Vietnamese or if they were Korean.
No, there's this like sense from like the more northern Asians where they tend to be a bit more lighter skin. They look down on the quote unquote southern Asians that have the darker skin. Why? I don't know. Like I literally do not know, but I hear it and I see it all the time. They're like, "Oh, southern Asians and their dark skin." I'm like, "I don't get it. What?" Like I don't.
Yeah,
Anyway.
man, you know what? I really feel like Corey missed out tonight. Oh, he's gonna be so jealous. He's gonna be so jealous.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think we can end it on that note right there.
We could go on all
Ooh,
night though.
we could.
That's what she said. Anyway, don't tell your boyfriend that.
All right, everyone. This has been Boss Rush After Dark, the alternative podcast of the flagship show for Boss Rush Network. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show. Stephanie, thank you. Thank you for being my co-pilot tonight. Thank you.
It was a blast.
Before we go, like let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, at Klimov, KLIMOV_author on Twitter and Instagram. You can find my articles and articles from all the other wonderful people on the writing team on bossrush.net.
Thank you. And as always, you can find me at Xs803 on Twitter and Instagram. Xs803 is also my Twitch handle as well as my YouTube handle, so don't forget to check out those channels. And Xs803 is my PlayStation Network gamer tag, but I was corrected recently because I had some sign-in issues with my Xbox Live. That my actual handle on Xbox Live is Exodus0803. So sorry for the confusion if you were trying to add me to your friends list on live, but yep, that's our show for tonight. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
We love you.
Good night, guys.
Keep giving it. Keep doing what you're doing. To our patrons out there, we definitely appreciate you guys. You're one of the main reasons why we are here for this particular show, and we can't get enough of you. So thanks for that. I'm just going to go ahead and sign off now, but come back and join us for our next installment of Boss Rush After Dark, where we will be back with more topics that aren't completely content appropriate.
Wink, wink.
Other anchor shows. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.